Hey friends, welcome to Your Story Matters podcast. My name is Michaela, and I am so happy you're here. My hope for this show is that we experience the power of storytelling and understand that we are the main characters in our story so that we can live as our truly authentic selves. You're in the right place to hear real stories that will challenge, inspire, and encourage you on your personal growth journey. I hope you enjoy. Today on the show is Shaina Hargens. Shaina Hargens is a speaker, coach, and the creator of the Anchoring Amidst journal and framework. After walking through seasons of deep grief, loss, burnt out, and rebuilding, her work became rooted in helping women find steadiness again. Not by pretending life isn't sometimes hard, but by building resilience with purpose inside of it. As the host of Anchored Women Retreats and the founder of the Connection Queen LLC, Shaina blends guided journaling, identity-based planning, and grounded conversations that help women reconnect with themselves, their vision, and sustainable rhythms for growth. Here's our conversation. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Your Story Matters podcast. I am so happy you've taken time out of your day to spend it with me, and I'm equally happy to be spending time with my new gal pal, Shaina Hargens. Shaina, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Michaela. Glad to be here.
It's always in that brief split second when I say people's names, I'm like, remember what they told you, remember what they told you. Because I said someone's first name once thinking that was how you pronounced it, and she's like, just so you know, it is not that way. And I was like, thank God for the edit button. I'll fix that right away.
Yeah, over here it's Shaina with an I.
Yeah, so I'm always just like, just say it to me so that I can get it in the brain space and we'll be good. So yes, we've already been talking way before we hit record, but we're just going to continue it with the record button on. So this is awesome. So Shaina, we ask a super big question here on the show to start everything off, and that is, what is your story?
Oh man. And right before we got on, I was like, I've got a little bit of everything for you. So I am born and raised in South Dakota, grew up on the east side, met a guy from the west side, moved to the Black Hills, and happily ever after, right? And my career was in sales. And so as I was going along in that world, I started getting these kind of affirmations and like training my replacements and things like that in territories and hearing like, you're so good at this. I want you on record. How did you do that thing? And I started building up some things and I was like, hey, I'm actually making some money over here because I shared this tool or I have this thing, right? On top of being able to train people and like send them off, right? Super, super fun. And so everything, of course, is going great and fine. Then we have this little bump in the road in 2020. And I decide, you know what? I think I'm going to do this thing, right? I had hired my first coach. I had kind of put my flag in the ground of being a coach. And I said, I'm going to try it. And a little nugget I want to drop right here is the day that I turned in my keys to my corporate job is the day that I got my first money in the bank for my business that I had been working for like 8 months.
Wow.
So it wasn't until
that
key exchange that I got that first check.
That's awesome.
Right. So I just wanted to, I don't know, just following along here. And then about a year later, my husband and I were expecting our first child and he was stillborn. And it was devastating. It was everything. Yet the first thing, like the prayer that I prayed in all of that was like, let me keep being a coach. Like, I don't care, whatever, just don't take that. Right. And so then 16 months later, my beautiful rainbow baby daughter was born. And she is a spitfire. She tests me and she tests herself and all that stuff, right? And in all of this, my business kept going. Like I had probably about 2 years worth of momentum built up from 8 to 10 months of a push to where, first baby was coming. And that momentum was there. And as it kind of petered out, I kept asking myself this question, like as a coach, how do I give this away? How do I answer the question, where did that strength come from? You get, no matter when big things come and happen or traumas or just big life changes, you're so strong and those types of comments start to come up. And they really sat with me. Like I wanted to know, I'm like, okay, yeah, but where? What was that thing? Right. And so I started going through old notebooks and journals and like the convention I went to and the thing and the workshop and whatever it might have been. I'm like, okay, the answer has to be here somewhere. And it pretty much was. It was, I actually distilled it down. And in the time of searching that, I had created a sisterhood. So that helped me continue to show up in my business and then to help other women grow and be more resilient and just have that kind of positive peer pressure atmosphere. Right. And so I had this moment where it's like, okay, I think I have something here. Let me bring it to my sisterhood, right? Like the testing grounds, right? And it really struck a chord. Like everyone in the room was like, okay, that was really good, right?
Mm,
And so we started picking it apart every once in a while, and we just kept going. And then last year, this is just kind of the whole thing, right? Then last year, I sat down. My husband had somewhere in there, he had gone logging. So he went from being a John Deere mechanic to a John Deere operator in the
mm,
woods. A dream thing for him, right? And in the following summer, I was just like, this isn't going the way I planned. We had actually planned on being on a different logging crew, so we would be away from home. And we weren't away from home. So it was just kind of landing back in like kind of status quo, but not because I was planning on going away and all this stuff. And I started journaling. I'm a journaler. I'm just like, okay, what's it going to be? What are just journaling? And I started having these prompts flow out
mm,
of me, like
mm,
all those questions that I had answered for myself that got me through that hard time in a form, in a format that someone else could receive, if that
mhm.
makes sense.
Yep.
So, yeah, and so in this session, I think I wrote down probably 40 of these prompts, and they fit into those categories of that presentation that I had done the year prior with my sisterhood.
Wow.
And 6 months later, this last fall, I published a guided journal, and I get to give it away. Like, it's no longer um quote unquote just my story. Like it's something that I can give away, and someone else can take it and make it their own, because these questions are for them, they're not for me anymore, right? So that's kind of the long and short of that. Take it away.
Beautiful. My gosh. In going back to the hard moment of life with your firstborn, why pray, let me keep this in terms of the coaching?
Yeah. So there's a couple things. So the quote that comes to mind is Cody Bateman. He says, find out who you are and then give yourself away.
Mm,
Because
that's
like
good.
once you've filled up, once you've taken that on, nobody can take it from you. So you might as well give it away. Like it's always going to be yours. And really asking that, like when you lose somebody so desperately close to you, like everything you thought was going to be isn't anymore.
Mhm,
And I had a friend, we were sitting down, I forget, we went to a lake at a picnic area, and she said, "It it can't be what you thought it was gonna be. Like, there's just not that thing anymore."
mhm.
Right? And so, yeah, to just say, like, can nothing else change? Like, there's a lot of
Oh,
things that got
yeah.
taken from me, right? Like, without my permission, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
And so to ask, "Can I just keep this one thing?" Like, everything else is gone. It just felt obliterated. And so to ask, "Can I just keep that one thing?" It just needed to be. And then now the gratitude of that, like I get to keep doing this. Like, this is what I get to do every day. And so being in the gratitude of that is definitely um, a key for me as well.
'Cause I think there's almost a groundedness to that prayer because everything has changed, the unthinkable has happened. We have to mourn the loss of expectations, which I wanna be careful how I say this, losing someone that you love is the worst thing possible. Losing the expectation of what my life would be is probably number 2 in any aspect, right? 'Cause we have thought, we have planned, and babies are fun because you kind of know months in advance, right? And there's this planning and this prep. Um, And then you kind of see that future year old starting school, you kind of go through all those milestones, right? So it is at least a lifetime
Yeah.
of this will not happen. These milestones will not occur. And so you saying all that kind of thinks of like, made me think there's such a groundedness to that prayer of like, let something be constant.
Yes.
And I think that is so key. And I'm getting chills just thinking about it. There's such a beauty in that because I think I've never asked for that myself. And I think that's so brave to just in the face of loss and of devastation to ask, can something remain the same? And then years later, of course, through trial and error, tears and blood and sweat and the whole and joys and everything, getting to see that kind of come to fruition because that is something that you have almost metaphorically birthed, right? In terms of the sisterhood and then going through grief and coming out with this journal. Yeah, that kind of is just a wonderful, it's okay to ask to keep something. Like
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
okay. That is
And
okay. And I think we need
all
that.
the things. Yeah, all the things, all the emotions, the grief, the joy, the ups and downs, they can all be in the same basket, like they can all be in that same space. And it's really to just allow yourself to feel all those things. I kind of coined the term emotional whiplash of just that back and forth of grief and moving forward, like all the motions. It's a whole thing. We get to all of it.
And I before we hit record, I talked about moving to Mars so I don't have to deal with allergies. But it's amazing to me when people are like, "What's the point of living?" And I know we went left field, but I will bring it around. Um,
Right.
they always say the human experience, right? Because we don't know anything outside of this existence. And so we get to feel and experience so stinking much to where it does become emotional whiplash of like the last couple of years for me have been really difficult. And it's like, I think I've asked, can we just have some calm now? I think that's what I've asked. Like, can we just settle? Can we be a little bit more grounded? And so that's my word for 2026 is grounded. What does that look like? How does that show up? So doing a little bit of writing around that. In fact, I just spoke with my counselor the day we record this, and I was like, my life has been so busy in this present time where it's like my writing has really suffered in sense of like I'm not journaling every day like I like to, or just really kind of getting to deeper issues, because writing always brings out your soul. I think you can just write a to-do list and that's just to get stuff out of your brain. But how have you found journaling? Like, what's your process? How does it show up for you and kind of how do you approach in different seasons of life, whether you feel like writing, you don't, life's busy, you have all the time in the world?
Yeah. I think it starts, if we even go to the planning side of it, it starts in pockets. It starts in, hey, I'm feeling this. This thing can move to the next day, like eking out that space that says, I can do, like giving yourself permission, right? To sit down, move a couple things and get to business, right? Like do the thing you want to do. So definitely starting in pockets and then filtering that into some kind of rhythm, whether it's every Tuesday afternoon after my bubble bath, right? To every whatever, right? Like fit it into a rhythm. Something I teach my clients is formulas. So it's like an
Mm,
if this, then.
mm-hmm.
And so the Tuesday, actually in sisterhood, we joke about bubble bath Tuesdays. That's just where I go.
I love that.
So you have, yeah, so you have that one thing. What can you add? What buffers and placement and things that fit in that mind space, in that physical space? If it's writing, if it's whatever, start there. Start with one thing and eke that out. And then from there, it's building onto that rhythm.
Mm, yeah.
So then when you bring up groundedness, we have to remember the feelings that we have when we do that thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because when we can attach to that feeling, that moment becomes magnified.
Mm, yeah.
And so it also gets weight to it, right? It's not just a fleeting moment. It's not um I voice memoed this to myself, which totally works, but it's not the same feeling, right? And yet, a voice memo, we can just go here. So we're talking creativity and that time and that space, right? We know what that looks and feels like, okay? Or we're working on it, right? We're eking that out. Now, when we're driving down the road and something hits us and we send ourselves a voice memo, it has the same vibe. We can take it from there and bring it to the editing table and finish.
Yeah.
Right. And so reminding ourselves of that feeling, doing our thing in the moment, but bringing it back to who you are and what you do.
Mm, that's so good. What has been a surprising thing, because obviously words are coming easy to me right now, about journaling and journaling consistently, whether that is Tuesday after bubble bath, whether that is every morning, whether that's every Saturday, have your coffee, sit on the front porch, whatever. What's the joy of the consistency?
The joy of the consistency, I think it goes back to the feeling. I think when you're there and you're answering that question for yourself. So I bring a guided journal to the table, right? So not knowing where to start with a guided journal. Start with a question, right? I like to include one in my newsletter. Like here's something for you, right? That gift, that giving away of yourself. But knowing that feeling, and then we can take it farther. We can expand on that. We've eked things out, right? So we take that same thing to the paper. And so like that journaling session almost a year ago, it was mid-June, the time. Um, by just sitting down and writing the questions you have, writing that prayer that you thought is saying, oh, I wonder what Jody is doing, or like writing those things out. So, yes, they're similar to the list that you're just getting out of your head, right? But then now that you've got the list out of your head, now you can go do the bigger things. Now you
Mhm.
can write the full sentence, you can write the paragraph, you can write out that prayer, you can talk about it, you can um, just let the words flow. Once they're on paper, now you can do something with them.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
you can rearrange them, you can edit them, you can whatever, you can burn them, I don't care. But you've turned them into something physical. And so it goes back to the feeling. So maybe it's not even consistency as much as the rhythm of the feeling and the doing. Whether you only do it once a week, that's all right too.
Mhm.
Sometimes consistency turns into burnout, whereas rhythm can be.
Oh, that's good, Shayna. That's really good. My counselor even said, "How you need to write about this specific thing in a recent event in my life." And she's like, "Have you
Yes.
written about it?" And I was like, "No, but I will now." You know,
Yes.
of just even yeah, it's like get something on paper because I have found too like the more stuff leaves my brain, then it's like I don't think about it. Like that's what's so magical about being a human being is like we think all these thoughts in our craniums and then as soon as pen to paper and I do suggest pen to paper because there's something beautiful about that as opposed to typing, even though I type faster than I write. It's like, it's not like it goes away and poof, it's gone like magic, but it lessens the space it occupies in my brain. It's like if the thought is a solid, then writing it down, it kind of becomes like a liquid.
Yep.
I never bring science into this podcast. I've just like popped in. Um, yeah, we're just going to run with that. So yeah, there's something really, really great just about the psyche of what's happening, behind the scenes in our brain. So you're journaling a year ago, you have these 40 questions, right, that have kind of come out in that space. How do you now come up with a question of I should put these into a book form so I can give this out to people? Was that the initial thought or did you have to sit with it for a little bit?
Once you have them on paper, I was like, well, I have to do something with them.
Mm,
Right. Like, and it's one of those, like, now I have to give it away. So a book is the thing. Right. But I want to go back here to a quote that I shared: find out who you are and then give yourself away. Okay. So when we're journaling, we get to write about something, write it in the present tense, right? This is how I feel. This is what I'm, this is what it looked like, all this stuff. Then when you go to give it away, re edit it to past tense
oh,
because it's not something that you're venting to a friend, right? It's not something you want them to take on, but it's something that you've experienced. And so when we switch it to past tense, now it becomes, what do you think? Instead of poor me. Like, it's not, no judgment, of course, but that past, present to past tense. I just want to bring that forward. As you're writing, I'm like, I gotta say something about that.
yeah.
And so same with when I go to this guided journal, all of these things are giveawayable. And so when we ask, what's something that I've said no to that felt that has opened space for the next thing, right? That's
Mm.
a similar question to what I have in my journal. When we answer that question, we can answer it right now, we can answer it out loud, we can give it away, right? And it's not something that we have to hold on to. It might be something we have to work on, right? Like, oh, I could do that more, or I didn't quite say as much no as I could have, right? Like the volume wasn't
Yeah.
very high, right? But it becomes that simple self assessment. It's not a deep dive, it's not shame or guilt. It's looking at the goodness of that potential answer.
Mm. That's awesome. I am just writing notes like I'm in class right now. I'm gonna quickly blow my nose and edit this out.
Yes, please.
Journaling has is such a mirror, right? To this is a wonderful space to be able to write my thoughts, write my feelings, very much in the present tense. And I love how you just said when you give it away, make sure it's in the past tense. That has just I'm getting it's just I don't know if it's the allergies or it's you, Shayna, but it's just the chills all over. It's probably both. Of just like that is so good to just even recognize the thought has been thought. It's out of my head. And now we get to spin it so that it doesn't hold the same power that it used to, good, bad, or indifferent. So that is just, I love it.
Yes.
This sisterhood that you have created, I want you to share about it because there's just nothing like a group of women coming together and just being wonderful together. What was the inspiration to start that and kind of how has it developed over time?
Well, I started it shortly after my husband took his different job.
Yeah.
And in the season of everything had kind of slowed down, I ran that momentum through almost to the end. And I had that feeling of like, well, when is it going to be my turn? Right.
Mm,
Like, and we've all felt that in some way, right? When is it my turn to get back on the horse, whatever that horse is for you, right? So definitely that feeling. And then just wanting to show back up in a way that could fit around my motherhood schedule. And that allowed me to pour into women. And then we grow alongside of each other. One of the phrases, besides the bubble bath Tuesday joke that we play almost every week, another is just like positive peer pressure. Everyone, they're nodding their head, they're saying, you got to go do that. Or me too, right? There's always the me too. And I love that I've got three generations in there. Like, it's not just one pocket because we learn from each other. And it's interesting, like, even some of the older women are doing new things, right? And so there's another gal, oh, me too. Or when I happen to run across that, this is what I do. And so, structure wise, we meet every week, and then every other week, we add on like a mini course or mini master class of some kind where I am more in teaching mode. And so, the regular sessions are we come in, we celebrate, I get on a soapbox about something, even maybe something we talked about here today, right? Just 10 ish minutes of, hey, when you hear this word, think of it this way, or what have you, right? Usually it's taking personal development and putting legs on it, right? Like putting boots on the ground so we can actually do something with those things, planning, resilience, random self help, whatever. And then afterwards, we talk about it. So it's that round table discussion where we get to learn, we get to grow, we get to cheer each other on, and then we get back to work. It's an hour. We just go out and do our thing.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. So living in South Dakota, what's the community like there? Because I've never been. I want to. Because I'm from the well, you're in the middle. I'm mid east, I guess you could say. But kind of what's the culture and the environment there? Is there I don't even know how I want to ask this. Yeah, we'll start with that.
Okay.
What's the environment?
Yeah. So physically, my address is Rapid City, South Dakota, which is right next to an air base, which is right on the outskirts of everything's within 50 miles. Like, yeah, Mount Rushmore, waterfalls, the Badlands, everything's within 50 miles. And so it's definitely a melting pot. And there's a lot of tourism. So there's a lot of build it, they will come kind of mentality. But when you go a layer deeper, when you go into businesses and those that want to cater to locals, right? Because we do have the tourism thing,
Yeah.
it becomes about relationships,
Mm.
right? And before we even before we pushed record, we were talking about a little bit of the trust issue we have online right now, right?
Yep.
Like what's real and what's not. Well, when you're in person breathing on each other, you know you're real. right? And so getting to do that, I actually have recently been getting back into in-person networking. Not every week, not it's fitting into my rhythm, right? I'm not consistent, but it's fitting into my rhythm.
Mm,
People will feel that, right? Like when it's forced versus felt.
mm,
And so as I'm getting back into being in person, you're seeing that more and more. Like, well, if you're in person, I can trust that you're the same, right? And so having that is just been amazing. And our space, like I just hosted my first retreat in person. And
congrats.
yeah, thank you. And being able to do that and having beautiful spaces to do that in, there are things that we don't have in this small town area, but we have beautiful views. We have great locations. We have great caterers and all the things, right? But it's about the relationships.
Mm, that's good. Snacks need to be a part of
Absolutely.
everything. I love that, and I think as you were saying all of that, the views I could almost imagine being tranquil. I could probably sit out on someone's front porch and, kind of disappear for hours in a book. But what is it about when the environment is not as scenically beautiful, or even just maybe the internal environment needs some care, some uprooting? How can journaling kind of be that escape?
It becomes something we can do something with,
Mhm.
period. So I bring up my retreat, and that's like a lot of what it was. My playbook that we printed out and walked through, there were pages that only had four of my words on them. Everything else was theirs, right? And when we can see it on paper, now we can, oh, oh, that, right? Bringing things together that make them just for you, right? Because even if we were born on the same day in the same hospital in the same town, like 30 years later, we're not going to have the same story. Like that's that's not how this works, right? So laying it all out on the page.
Yep. Now I just want to go journal for hours, Shayna. Thank you.
Come to a retreat in October, it'll be amazing.
Fantastic. Road trip, here we come. In dealing with very significant loss and having an outlook to journal, to reflect, and I think we kind of have already alluded to it, but if there's anything else that we can add to it, what's the encouragement for people who have had such an important event happen in their life that they're like, I don't know what to do next? What do you say?
It's interesting. How do I know what to do next? Right? Just start really. In so many ways it doesn't matter.
Mm,
Like to just start. And it's interesting in this conversation, I'm like, yeah, just ask. Like, can I just keep this one thing? Right? Decide what that is. You don't have to let go of it all. Sometimes not letting go gets messy, right?
mhm,
Just make it yours and just
mhm,
follow your heart. Like I know I had a ton of invitations for coffee and there were just times where it didn't work. And getting back into my business, I had days that I just couldn't follow through on the appointments or the what have you. And you know what? It's your story, it's not theirs. It's business, it's not personal, right? Like if they never talk to you again because you flaked out on XYZ, that's okay. Like
mhm,
other opportunities are going to be there for you. I had someone say to me, the work will always be there. And it's so true. It's so
mhm,
true. And yet, the thing we can't do is pile so many things on that we can't take care of ourselves when something happens, when something shifts that says, well, if this is what's happening today, how am I going to cover my tomorrow?
mhm,
Right? The things that I have on my list to do. That's definitely something I walk through in identity based planning. In like, you know what? We can move that stuff to the next day.
mhm,
Like, I have the perfect example. Tomorrow, I get to leave and go across the state and see my adopted grandma who's in the hospital.
mhm,
And yes, I have a couple things on my list of things to do tomorrow, and I can rain check them.
mhm.
And if that opportunity, that conversation, that whatever isn't there on Monday when I get home, it will be in whenever. It'll be there in October or it won't be, right? It's business, it's not personal,
Yeah,
right? And just having that openness that says, that's all right. We can keep going.
yeah. I really like that because not everything that feels like a priority is a priority. And really coming back to, what matters in terms of like does this business connection or networking or whatever like really need to happen? It's like, no, I want to spend time with the people that I love. And anytime you say yes to something, you say no to something. But I want to say too that like when values and your priorities are aligned with like what you want to do and how you want to live, and then how do you want to, inspire your daughter to grow and see the world in her way, it's like then it's all coming back to like what really matters. And I have said for years, Shayna, put off tomorrow what can be done tomorrow.
Yes.
Guess what?
Amen.
My mantle will still be dusty, regardless if I dust it today or next week. Right?
Right.
It's not awful. It's not like haunted mansion dusty. But there's certain things like it's important to like go to a family dinner, or it's important to make time for this. And I want to say too that like it almost is like your business can honor that, or even like give back to you time spent in other areas, because that's also another form of self-care, right? We can't all be about business because we are human outside of it. And so what can we do to do that self-care to strengthen us in our relationships so that we can bring newer life experiences into that for reflection.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and
kind
it
of all the
can,
gifts that keeps on giving.
yeah. And it can all be done in a 9 to 5 too, right? Like we can set boundaries, we can set the tone and the stage, right? And we can set the auto replies.
Mhm.
It's a thing. And I love being at the right hand of those people, being like, yeah, you can do it. Push the button. You can do it.
Your future self will thank you.
Yes.
And I think that's good too, to also know, when to step away. I know things can be very consuming and we can be very like tunnel focused in stuff, but taking time to smell the roses, breathe in the fresh mountain air, go on a picnic. Oh, a picnic in South Dakota just sounds so magical.
You're
Like
on.
sign me up. Sign me up, please. But yeah, just really taking time to enjoy and not be so bogged down, which is, one of the whole points of this show, of just like, here's how we can use different modalities. And again, try them on, find the one that fits, and then see where it takes you, right? Because again, you don't know until you try. And as you've been saying since we hit start, like just start. Like you have nothing to lose in that way of things, and you can be very surprised with kind of what comes out, right?
Right. Yep.
That's it, guys. We've done it.
Bring it on.
Just going back really quickly, because I wrote down, this is kind of a left turn, a logging crew. I have never in my life, I know what logs are and I know what crews are. Putting them together, I have such an image of like Bob the Builder, because I grew up in the 90s. And so what the heck is going on over there in South Dakota?
Oh man. Well, so we're in the Black Hills. We have big, tall ponderosa pine trees. At the time, my husband had the potential of going to the Bighorns, which is in Wyoming,
Oh, wow.
right before Yellowstone and Glacier. But being on a logging crew, you've got a couple different machines. Everything's mechanic, right? So he's currently in a machine that does cutting, and then also cutting it to a certain length for however the mills need the wood. And yeah, he cuts trees down.
What is it like being married to a lumberjack?
Oh man. Uh, I love when people ask that question because it always has that connotation of
Yep.
like, I
Yep.
just made a joke, right? I love it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
He is very much at home being with himself in his machine. Like
Yeah.
being in town, like he's been in town this last week, like pray for us, because then he's around people and all the stuff. And that's just not what he wants to be, right? He's an only child. And so he's cool with being by himself for 12 hours a day. And then he's very handy, right? But he does bring some of his work home. And so he's got his big truck that he drives with his tools and all the stuff. Last year we were supposed to be on this other crew, and we were supposed to be in the woods in a camper in the middle of nowhere with Starlink internet. So it's not really the middle of nowhere, but it's different. It's a totally different lifestyle. And the
Mm,
question people always ask me is like, how do you do that? And honestly, it's meal planning. Everything else, it's a home away from home. It
pretty much.
becomes meal planning. And it actually is what forced me more into meal planning. Now I just do it no matter what. And I plan 3 weeks worth of meals. I did 4 once and I was like, no, that was too much. Chaos instilled, right? And so the first 2 weeks, you're like, we got this. And the third week, you're kind of like, oops, but you make it through. And so really the key has been meal planning. Everything else just he just comes home for food, really.
Pretty much.
He's got it all in his machine. So it's definitely different. It's funny. My business coach, she grew up on a logging camp. And
No
so
way.
yeah, and she's been my coach for a few years. And so when I told her, "Hey, he's going logging, blah blah blah," and she's like, "I know what machine he's driving." She's like, "That's the first thing I drove." And it was just such a small world thing.
That's so cool.
So some of you listeners will know what a logging crew is. Others, now you know.
Now I know, and we are better for it. That is so funny. And how small the world is too. That's like it's a very niche thing depending on like where you live. It just sounds really fun. Just to
It is.
I'm
It's
an
different.
introvert, so like being by myself for 12 hours a day is a dream come true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I love people. I don't love people. I tolerate people. It's like the more time by myself, the better.
Hey, you have to
People
fill
are
out.
people, you know what I mean? And I'm one of those too. So it's like we all need some time away from each other. Oh, that's brilliant. As we are wrapping up here, Shaina, thank you so much for your time. This has been so enlightening. I have a whole page of notes. What is your next chapter? How do you see your story unfolding, whether it's logging crew, whether it's picnics on the lake, retreats? I mean, the sky is the limit. What do you got?
It really is. Really, I'm loving. You mentioned retreats. I'm loving it.
Yeah,
Hosting my first one on kind of short notice went smashingly well.
good.
And I already have plans for, like I said, October. And it's actually going to be most likely in or close to the location my husband and I got married in, which is kind of a
Yeah.
historical space next to a creek and the scenery and all the stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely an up level. And so then last week, so I host my first retreat. And then the following week, I did my first book signing event, my journal, my guided journal at the local Barnes and Noble.
Yes.
And it went fantastic as well. And I'm
Good.
over here. I got home and my husband said, how did it go? And I said, well, honey, from now on, I will be hosting retreats and signing books if you need me. Like, just freaking love it. Like
Good.
the journal is just a gift, right? Like,
Yeah.
please take one for yourself. Like, please, because it is such a gift to whoever gets to write on those pages.
Yeah.
And then, like I had said, with the retreats, I just take that to another level and we get to hold things at arm's length and do stuff with them and make a plan from there. Cause I'm kind of a planner geek too, right? The
Yeah.
rhythms and the things
Yep.
to get to do it in person. And I'll be hosting a virtual one this summer. I don't have a date
Awesome.
exactly, but bring it on.
Girl, let's go.
Yes.
Let's plan some things. I think that's wonderful. It's so needed to have people kind of walk us through organizational stuff, especially if that is not our forte, or just kind of figuring out like I view life a lot as a puzzle, right? And we're kind of picking up these pieces. All right, like we can see this as a corner, but we just don't know like which one. And we kind of separate. When I do puzzles, I separate it all by color and then do my frame first, and then just kind of put in the pieces. But sometimes you look at stuff and you're like, just have no idea how that's gonna fit. And having someone walking alongside you in this whole planning process of like, here's what works for your life. So it is a very tailor-made process, which is so great. Because kind of going back to authenticity, like we did when we first before we hit record, it was people want us to show up as ourselves. And so what's the best way that we can do that in this world, online, in person, whatever. And so, yeah, really just coming alongside and walking with people is just you can't get better than that.
And if Bubble Bath Tuesday is something you want or that you want to joke about, sisterhood.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I wish I had a tub for that very reason, and I don't. But showers are great. Big proponent of showers. But I haven't had a bubble bath, I don't think, since I was a child. I need to make bathtub friends.
There you go.
Shayna, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your story. It's beautiful to see what fruit can come from really dark seasons, knowing that nothing is wasted and that it's a gift that keeps on giving knowledge to be able to share your story, which is beautiful. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. I invite you to subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen, give it a rating and review while you're at it. It really goes a long way. And check out the show notes for all the ways to stay connected with me and our guests. Until the next episode.